Hello students, in this video we will see next article of unit number 3, which is indefinite integral. But before starting with this integral, we will discuss one theorem from last article. So the theorem is, let G be the finite collection of interval ik, then there exists a collection G0 of disjoint interval from G, that is G0 is equals to collection of interval ik1 from G, such that measure of union of such intervals ik of I is greater than or equals to 1/3 measure of union of ik. So let's see the proof. Let ik be an interval of maximum length which is removed from this collection ik of G. Then any interval making this interval ik1, the measure of union of this interval including this ik1 is not greater than 3 times of length of this interval. So hence continuing until the G is exhausted, J is exhausted to interval ik1, ik2 up to ikn, and these interval are disjoint from each other. And when we get such construction, then every interval of G meets some ik1, so that this measure of union of ik is less than or equals to summation of I from 1 to n 3 times of length of ik of I, which is again less than or equals to 3 times summation of I from 1 to n length of ik of I, which is less than or equals to 3 times length of union of I from 1 to n, the interval ik of I, which is again less than 3 times measure of union of I from 1 to n iki. So therefore measure of union of I from 1 to n ik of I is greater than or equals to 1/3 measure of union of this interval ik, and hence the theorem is proved. Now next is the definition of indefinite integral. So if f is a Lebesgue integrable function on interval ab, then f is integrable on any interval ax which is a subset of the interval ab. Then this function f is given by capital F of x is equals to integration a to x f of t dt, and this f is called indefinite integral of f. So the first theorem of this article, the statement says that if f is a Lebesgue integrable function on the interval ab, then we have to prove that first this indefinite integral of f, that is capital F of x is equals to integration a to x f of t dt, is a continuous function on the interval ab. And second, we have to prove that this capital F is a function of bounded variation. So let's start with the proof. So it is given that f is Lebesgue integrable on the interval ab. To prove, first we have to prove that this capital F of x is equals to integration a to x f of t dt is a continuous function. Is continuous on this interval ab. So let x0 be the point from the interval AB. So consider mod of capital F of x minus capital F of x0, which is by definition equals to mod of integration from a to x f of t dt minus integration from a to x0 f of t dt. So which is equals to mod of integration a to x f of t dt. If we change this limit, that is if we make upper limit equals to lower and lower limit equals to upper, then minus sign come out and then minus minus become plus of integration from x0 to a f of t dt. Now combining both of these integrals, we get mod of integration from x0 to x f of t dt, which is less than or equals to integration from x0 to x mod of f of t dt. Let this be number 1. Now this f is given as integrable, but this f is integrable. So this implies that mod of f is integrable. So therefore, for given epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta greater than 0 such that for every set, say capital gamma, which is subset of this closed interval AB with measure of this set equals to delta, we have integration of mod of f dt over the set gamma is less than or equals to epsilon. But in particular, we can say that for given epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta greater than 0 for every set say interval x0 to x, which is subset of this interval a to b with mod of x minus x0 less than delta, we have integration from x0 to x mod f of dt less than epsilon for mod of x minus x0 less than delta. So therefore, by 1 we get from 1. This implies that mod of capital F of x minus capital F of x0 is less than epsilon, where mod of x minus x0 is less than delta. So thus for given epsilon greater than 0, for given epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta greater than 0 such that mod of x minus x0 is less than delta, and this implies that mod of capital F of x minus capital F of x0 is less than epsilon. So again, this implies that capital F is continuous by definition, is continuous at x0 belongs to the interval AB, and therefore this implies that capital F is continuous on this interval AB. So hence here the first part of this theorem is proved. We have proved that this indefinite integral is continuous on this interval AB. Now second, we have to prove that this capital F is a function of bounded variation over the interval AB. This is to prove. So for this, let's consider a partition of this interval. So let P be the partition such that A is equals to x0, which is less than x1, which is less than x2, up to so on, which is less than xk, which is equals to B. Let this be partition. The partition of the interval, closed interval AB. So therefore, by definition of total variation, we have P is equals to summation I from 1 to k mod of f of xi minus capital F of xi minus 1, which is equals to, by definition of indefinite integral, we get summation I from 1 to k mod of integration from a to xi f of t dt minus integration from a to xi minus 1 f of t dt. So again, this implies this total variation t, which is equals to summation I from 1 to k mod of integration a to xi f of t dt, and here we will change this limits. So minus sign comes out and minus minus become plus. So in plus integration from xi minus 1 to a f of t dt. Now combining this integral, we get summation I from 1 to k mod of integration xi minus 1 to xi f of t dt. So this is less than or equals to summation I from 1 to k integration xi minus 1 to xi mod of f of t dt. So this implies this is less than or equals to integration from a to b over the partition P, and f mod of f of t dt, which is less than infinity, that is finite. So therefore this implies that this small t is less than infinity. Now taking supremum over all partition of AB. So taking supremum, we get the total variation of the function capital F over the interval AB is less than infinity, that is finite, and by definition of bounded variation, this implies that F is a function of bounded variation over the interval AB, and hence the second part of this theorem has also been proved. In this next theorem, it is given that this F is a finite valued monotonic increasing function which is defined on this interval AB. Then we have to prove that F dash is measurable, and second thing, integration from A to B F dash of dx is less than or equals to F of B minus F of A. So let's start with the proof. So as given here, F is finite valued monotonic increasing function which is defined on the interval finite interval AB. So this implies that F is a function of bounded variation over the interval AB. So therefore this implies that F is differentiable almost everywhere. F is differentiable almost everywhere. So this implies that F dash exists, that is the derivative of F exists almost everywhere. Now we define a function G, which is equals to F dash of X, where F dash exists and equals to 0 otherwise. For X belongs to the interval AB. Now let Gn of X is equals to n times of F of X plus 1 by n minus F of X. And we set here F of X equals to F of B for X greater than or equals to B. Then this each Gn is defined on interval each Gn defined on this interval is non-negative and measurable. Non-negative and measurable, and therefore limit of n tends to infinity, Gn of X is equals to G of X almost everywhere. And clearly from this we can say that G is non-negative measurable. So this implies that this G is non-negative and measurable. So therefore, as we have defined G equals to F dash of X, where F dash exists, so as G is non-negative and measurable, this implies that F dash is measurable. So first part of this theorem is proved. Now we have to prove that. Now next, to prove that integration of from A to B F dash of dx less than or equals to f of b minus f of a. So now consider integration from a to b g of dx, which is less than or equals to limit infimum of integration from a to b gn dx. So this is less than or equals to limit infimum of integration from a to b in bracket n times of f of x plus 1 by n minus f of x dx. So which is less than or equals to limit infimum of, taking this integration inside, so integration from a to b n times of f of x plus 1 by n dx minus integration from a to b n times f of x dx. So which is again less than or equals to limit infimum of, in bracket integration a plus 1 by n to b plus 1 by n times f of t dt minus integration from a to b n times f of x dx. So again, which is less than or equals to limit infimum of, in bracket, we will break this integration as integration from a plus 1 by n to b n times f of x dx plus integration from b to b plus 1 by n times f of x dx minus, again we will break this second term as integration from a to a plus 1 by n into f of x dx minus integration from a plus 1 by n to b n times f of x dx. So from this first term and last term get cancelled. So we get integration from a to b g dx, which is less than or equals to limit infimum of integration from b to b plus 1 by n f of x dx n times f of x dx minus integration from a to a plus 1 by n times f of x dx. So from this we get integration from a to b g of dx, which is less than or equals to limit infimum of f of b minus f of a. So thus we get here this integration from a to b g dx less than or equals to f of b minus f of a. And since this g is equals to f of f dash, so therefore this implies from a to b f dash of dx is less than or equals to f of b minus f of a, and hence the second condition of this theorem has also been prove. Now in this next theorem, it is given that f is a Lebesgue integrable function over the interval ab, and integration from a to x f of dt is equals to 0 for x belongs to the interval ab. Then we have to prove that f is equals to 0 almost everywhere in this interval ab. So let's start with the proof. So let us consider an interval epsilon eta, which is subset of this given interval ab. So therefore we have integration from epsilon to eta f of t dt is equals to integration from a to eta f of t dt minus integration from a to epsilon f of t dt. Let this be number 1. Now if we solve this, we will get this as this integration from a to eta, and if we change the limits here, it becomes plus of epsilon to a, and combining these two, we get integration from epsilon to eta. So now it is given that integration from a to x f of t dt is equals to 0 for x belongs to the interval ab. So therefore equation 1 implies that integration from epsilon to eta f of t dt is equals to 0. So therefore the integral of this function f over any open interval epsilon eta is 0. So then the integral of this function f over any open set, say O, which is subset of AB, is also 0. Now we suppose the result of this theorem is false, then we assume that there exists a set E, which is subset of this interval AB, such that f is greater than or equals to 0 on this set E with measure of E greater than 0. Then there exists a closed set F, which is again a subset of E, such that measure of this set F is greater than 0. So now let O be the set which is equals to interval of interval AB minus this closed set F. So now clearly this O is an open set. So clearly O is open. So this implies that integration over O of this function f dt is equals to integration from a to b f of dt minus integration of f over the closed set f dt. So this implies that integration over f of the function f dt is equals to integration from a to b f dt minus integration of this function f over the interval over the open set O. Now this value is 0 since AB is an open interval. So integral of f over any open interval is 0, and also minus this integration of f over this open set O is also 0. But since here f is the closed set, so here this LHS becomes greater than 0, but RHS is equals to 0. So therefore here we get contradiction. So we get contradiction to our assumption that this function f is greater than 0. So therefore f is equals to 0 almost everywhere in the interval AB, and hence the theorem is proved. So now the next theorem is, let AB be the finite interval and f is a Lebesgue integrable function with indefinite integral capital F. Then we have to prove that f of x is equals to integration from a to x f of t dt, and capital F dash of is equals to f almost everywhere in this interval AB. So now suppose that this function f is bounded. So therefore, by definition of bounded function, this mod of function f is less than or equals to k for some real number k. For some real k. Now we define f to be 0 on interval b to b plus 1, so that this capital F is constant on this interval b to b plus 1, and therefore we define Gn of x, which is equals to n times mod of integration from x to x plus 1 by n f of t dt. So this is less than or equals to n times integration from x to x plus 1 by n mod of f of t dt, which is again less than or equals to n times integration from x to x plus 1 by n. Since this mod of f of t dt is less than k, we put here k dt. So this becomes less than or equals to n times k and x plus, that is upper limit minus lower limit. Taking integration, we get here. So n times of k, 1 upon n. This x get cancelled. So again this n get cancelled. So we get k. That is mod of Gn of x is less than or equals to k. Therefore this function Gn is also bounded. Now by corollary, we have the indefinite integral of integrable function is differentiable almost everywhere. So therefore, by this corollary, this limit from n tends to infinity, Gn of x is equals to capital F dash almost everywhere. So therefore, capital F dash exists almost everywhere, and this capital F dash is less than or equals to k almost everywhere. Now by theorem, for each C belongs to this interval AB, we have here integration from A to C f dash of dx is equals to limit from n tends to infinity integration of from a to c gn dx for c belongs to the interval ab. So this is equals to limit from a to c n times of capital F of x plus 1 by n minus capital F of x dx. So this is equals to limit in bracket n times of integration from a to c capital F of x plus 1 by n dx minus n times integration a to c capital F of x dx. So this is equals to limit in bracket n times of a plus 1 by n to c plus 1 by n capital F of x dx minus n times integration from a to c capital F of x dx. So now this becomes limit n times. Now we will break this integration, that is integration from a to 1 plus n to c f of x dx plus integration from c to c plus 1 by n f of x dx. This will be n times and will be multiplied to both. And again we will split this second term. So we get minus n times from a to a plus 1 by n capital F of x dx minus n times integration from a plus 1 by n to c capital F of x dx. So this first term and last term get cancelled. So here we get which is equals to limit in bracket n times c to c plus 1 by n capital F of x dx minus n times integration from a to a plus 1 by n capital F of x dx. So by definition this becomes capital F of c minus capital F of a, which is equals to integration from a to c f of x dx. So therefore we get integration from a to c capital F dash of x dx is equals to integration from a to c f of x dx. So now since this f is continuous and also capital F is indefinite integral of f, so since this capital F is continuous and also this capital F is indefinite integral, of f. So therefore by definition capital F is equals to integration f of dx. So therefore capital F is equals to integration of f of t dt. So therefore integration from a to c in bracket f dash minus f dx is equals to 0. So this implies that capital F dash minus f is equals to 0 almost everywhere. So this implies that capital F dash is equals to f almost everywhere on the interval AB, and hence the theorem is proved. So here we complete unit number 3 of paper MIT. From next video, we will start with unit number 4. Thank you.